star 1978 star 8378 Nicole Cattaruzza. There's some, for me, it's disturbing. I'm in New York City. I've mentioned it before. There's a mayor, Eric Adams. He wants school control as of, well, I'm learning tonight on this regular common knowledge television broadcast run by the state of New York and some FCC agreement. It starts with that. Then I'm going to fast forward to a piece with PS 133 where they introduced instruments and music, but only to African or Latin looking children. I'm in North America. The democracy is failing. It is not a functional democracy. It's not a functional republic at the moment. Both sides are having some fight, and even though North America has some greenback money, it has a rock wall, it has guiding principles and some founding fathers and the originals, and I'm part of that. I also have this for the girl with the pearl earring. And then I can rewind it to see who Mayor Adams is putting in charge of the health and welfare and safety of all of these messages that I don't agree with. I wasn't asked on, and it's not my megaphone or microphone. It's some man I've never met, or perhaps met on a bus once, didn't know who he was. Perhaps. These things get a little fuzzy in hindsight.
Mayor Adams asking now for a 4-year extension tonight for mayoral control of New York City schools. Mr. Adams testifying before the New York State Legislature's virtual public hearing this morning. He says his team has proven itself by safely keeping schools open despite
I was not given a calendar.
the Omicron surge. The mayor says the focus now is on supporting educators and improving the physical, mental, and social well-being of...
None of these children, or very few of these children, look like relative of my son. Most of them look like failing democracy.
Students, his words. Mayor also says it's not the time to return to what he calls an old broken system.
The system we had in place with the school boards was a broken system.
Actually, at one point, it was a working class democracy system for Europeans, both Eastern and Western, and for North American and Canadian. It worked. It just was not accepting of certain whatever. I don't know how the invasion and attempt to overthrow the working class Democrats and the working republic, being North America, I'm not quite sure what year that happened. I'm not quite sure what part is still working. But currently, I'm reporting that New York has pieces inside the state that are a failing part of democracy, and that scares me because the infrastructure needs to be propped up and resecured.
It's time to build on what we know works, and accountability is crucial in this process.
The mayor says
So they plan for somehow there's some planned obsolescence. It's almost as if I've been written out of the ability to stay in New York. Nobody addressed me. Nobody offered me money. Nobody offered me safety or security. Nobody even offered me information. I'm learning this at age 43 after my mother never got anywhere, and I certainly have been blocked. I've also been stalked. I've been made a soft target, is I think what the superhero league calls it, that actually knows stuff, and they have a working security force keeping an eye on things.
The additional years of control will allow him to build on the progress that he says.
Why should he be in control of anything in New York where in North America the profile is really clear for employment? Now, this is interesting as far as music. Today, same day that Mayor Eric Adams is asking for 4 more years of control of the New York City schools, which he just became mayor, so I don't know how that works, but he's asking the Senate. I don't even have a direct line to the Senate that I'm aware of. It's a music education, music and arts. This person like himself was able to play the violin and whatever, developed this skill, and now they're doing a piece on they chose one school inside Queens, and it was PS 133, not PS 31Q. Why is that? Just curious. There seems to be a racial bias going on, like making my son in North America obsolete. I'm pretty sure at top priority, considering it's been going on Linda's generation, into my generation, and now carried forward for a third generation. Debt equity and whatever kind of structured settlement thinks it's working is failing the people. It's failing at democracy. It's failing the Republic's requirements.
Too long ago, she was performing with Beyonce at Coachella. Now, a classically trained musician is working on getting the next generation on the big stage. And as Eyewitness News reporter Marco Sola shows us.
And do you think she's passing forward her skill to people like my son? No, she's not. She took a skill and she's enhancing only the whatever in whatever in North America. So she took from the system and is only enhancing the failing part of the democracy.
Her work took her to Harlem.
She makes beautiful music, but this classically trained violinist is also focused on making an impact.
I like chocolate ice cream.
Meredith Azima Ramsey, who goes by her middle name professionally, is touring schools in underserved communities, introducing inner city kids to classical music.
What is an underserved community? These are not commonplace terms. Couch potato level of human, raised in New York, went through the public school system as far as it could carry me, did not learn what an underserved community is. Again, that's linguistical prowess that has been enhanced for the benefit of the failing democracy.
See how divided our world is? I truly believe that music is sort of what bridges the gap.
Azima's gone from
Interesting. So her words say that she wants to bridge that gap, but she only pays it forward to her own type and kind. They're targeting, and they literally are wiping out my son's ability to play music. And today I find out from one of the moms at the playground that they took from the letter is K in alphabet through number 4. They took science away from my son. So now they're getting specialized music enhancement, and PS31Q got science completely taken out of their system. So now they're even more obsolete. How does any of this survive? The moon is missing. Today's the 8th night.
Hosting violin covers of pop songs on YouTube to performing with superstars including Beyonce, Stevie Wonder, and Yo-Yo Ma.
I'm not into these
Strings by Heart, a program providing
making
a select number of
celebrities
kids
out
with
of
free music
whatever,
instruction,
humans.
instruments, and access to cultural events.
Learning an instrument is really something that requires a lot of privilege, a lot of
Oh, a lot of privilege. Yes, yes, it does. What I don't understand is why these underserved communities are getting all of the privilege and the what's supposed to be receiving some form of enhanced whatever or privilege is having everything removed from its ability for many lengths of time now, 3 generations.
access, and not everybody has that.
For the students, this truly is a rarity.
Actually, we're going on 4
PS 133, like
generations.
many elementary schools in the city, does not offer music as a core class.
They are so
And that's the reporter that I said hello to in the local area during the snowstorm.
into it, right? And just the idea of being able to feel the strings and play the chords, I think is awesome. It just really has sparked an interest, and that's really where it begins.
How did you do?
Good.
Were you awesome?
Yeah.
Do you think you want to keep studying it?
Yeah.
Strings by Heart is starting small with 10 students, supporting their musical development from first grade through high school. And Noah Zima says the goal is not for them to become musicians.
It's about knowing how to learn. It's about knowing how to be disciplined, knowing how to work in an ensemble, how to compromise if you don't get what you want. Take it back.
Everything I needed and my children needed to survive and to make this United States of North America a working democracy. Everything that everybody was striving for, not a democracy under attack and failing forward for several generations, growing more dangerous. And I don't know who's behind it or who's funding it, but I can see who's benefiting from it, and it's not me. Now here's on this pandemic and the vaccine requirement, wherever this information comes from.
Over, meaning you will no longer need to show proof of vaccination at restaurants and other indoor venues.
Are these restrictions being lifted too soon?
Now this is Mayor Eric Adams, or at least what New York City put in as a mayor. I don't know who was behind it. I don't know who approved it. I don't know who's funding it. But I'm questioning it because this is under attack elsewhere. If this is a flag, this is being attacked elsewhere at the moment. And there are serious war crimes going on while this failing part of democracy was put in New York City, and I don't know who's behind it. Now, where do you report that level of truth?
Soon, New York Mayor Adams insists he's following the science and cited these 3 numbers. New York City's 7-day average positivity rate down to 1.8%. 6.4 million New Yorkers are fully vaccinated, and the positivity rate in schools is 0.18%.
I have no idea where he comes up with his numbers. I have no idea what message that's sending to gangbusters.
And New York, of course, a tourist destination, drawing people from...
And now, if this is what U.S. territory is, because that's what's been promoted inside New York for this state of New York, that's the shape of the puzzle piece. That's got some symbol U.S. and I don't know what this means. How do I find out what that means? Being January daily cases, January 1.3 million and now 54,000. What is that an indication of? How do I keep myself and my kids safe? And within the North America to try to preserve and save a democracy or republic or whatever words the Americans are comfortable with, because they get really angry over the craziest things at Language Lab. I don't know what, I mean, that's the puzzle piece that I'm in at the moment, and I've been held in or within while this obsolescence, like where they just erase me off the landscape completely and I can't escape from it. I can't even afford myself clothing, housing, my own children at this point, and I don't know where their next landing spot or what kind of career they're going to be prepared for. There's nothing being offered. Meanwhile, I see that what has moved in, unbeknownst to me, and I don't know how, seems to be getting all of these resources allotted them, and it's just making it easier for them to wipe the North American, the traditional North American, off the whatever. It's really frightening. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken. It's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361, and today's March 4th, 2022. So that's 3/4/2022.